Hi guys. Okay, one of my subscribers contacted me and asked me to talk about firewood without tools. Gathering and firewood whenever you ain't got tools. Do you have to have tools and etc.? And I understand this is a really good beginner question. So let me fall back to the old Boy Scout methods that was taught in the 30s and 40s. And it was said that if you were building a quick meal cook fire, a small fire, all you needed was your hands, okay? And that meant you were going to go along like the stuff you're seeing back here behind me and pick it up. And it was small sticks like this. All you had to do was break it apart by hand. Nothing big. Find it about, hand span size and snap it. Just like that. Hardwood, stuff like that was available. You gathered up handfuls of it and you snapped it off, working your way down like this until you had a bundle. Okay? You'd get about 10 or 20 of these bundles together, and then you would make your tinder, make your fire, use a single match, remember the old Boy Scout adage, and this is what you would cook your quick meal with, because this is going to burn fast, be hot, and be done quickly, because I'm just stopping. This is a breakfast. This is a snack along the trail. So I don't need much, and I don't want long burn time either. I want to heat up a canteen or a little stew pot or something right quick, some coffee, that type deal. And so just by your hands, picking it up and snapping it off, this is what you're going to gather for that type of really small fire. Now, it said if you wanted a medium-sized fire, all you needed was your knife. Using your knife, you would little light chop and snap off bigger things. Now we're talking about bigger than my thumb, bigger than like 2 fingers, something like that. And that's about the width, 2-finger width. 2 chops and snap it off. That was the idea of gathering and collecting that size firewood, because you're wanting a little longer burn time. See, and this is a small fire still, but what I'm going to cook is going to take a little bit. I'm starting with raw meat, and so I don't need a 10-minute fire. I need a 30 or 40-minute fire to heat it up and cook it, see, over the hot part of it. So I need hot coals quickly. So I would still gather with my hand the smalls, and then I would take my knife and take the larger stuff. Something of larger diameter like that, that's for a medium fire. This size, inch and a half, something like that, I could break over a knee, or with just a knife, a couple of quick chops to just weaken a little bit, make it easy to pop. I could shave down and make feather sticks with this, or just a pile of shavings. Something, because it's a little larger. I got to get it going. It takes a little bit more BTUs to get it to the flash point to burn it. So I may have to split it down even a little bit. But I'm not talking about batoning. I'm just talking about a little bit of cut, split, snap, etc. And sometimes the tool, a knife, was all that you needed. So again, a small fire was just your hand, and a medium fire was just a knife. Then came the big fire. This was the bonfire, the campfire, the all-night fire. We're talking logs. Then you needed a saw or an axe for that, because we're bucking up bigger wood. We want long-term cooking time, long-term heat. So we're not having to run back out there. That little stuff for the small fire, that's 1,000 trips a night trying to find enough to keep the fire going, because it only has a 10-20 minute burn time. The knife size wood only has a 20 to 25, maybe 30 minute burn time. I want hours. And that's where the axe or the saw came in, because now I could do 3-4 inch diameter, something about that big. You put your 2 fingers together and your thumbs, something about that size. That's what my granddaddy taught me. He said, pinky size is for a canteen fire heating up coffee. Thumb size to a little bit like 2-finger size, that's what you want for a cooking fire that's going to be over in like an hour or something. Campfire, you do that. Make a hole. That's the size you want right there. Make stacks of that. And that's where the axe and the saw come in. So, do you need a tool to gather? Depending on your location, like what I've got back here with plenty of down that I can just walk up and snap off or break off. With my bare hands, I could gather all I needed for a nighttime fire. Do I have to have a tool? No. I can use larger pieces simply to lay across the fire. Once I get the base fire going and I increase it up to a pretty good size pile, now I take bigger size pieces and just start laying it in crisscross fashion over the top. Let it burn in the middle and then scoot it in. Scoot it in. Keep adding to the top and scoot it in till you have a large fire for an all-night fire. Okay, now for the big stuff. A lot of times you can find blown down, snapped off large limbs, etc. But by hand, without tools, it's very difficult to get anything that big. Other than something that's half rotten that you can snap off or kick and bust yourself. In which cases, like you're seeing back here, some timber down where a storm came through and pushed a lot of this down, probably a hurricane. There's enough fairly large stuff laying on the ground, I can drag it, you know, pick it up and drag it to a central fire. And something like a star fire, where you start with something in the middle and you pile it on top of it, and then as it burns on the end, you push it together. Now, the long fire. The long fire is I will start with a small fire, and then I'll put a big log on the back side of it, a long one. And I'll keep adding to the side to spread that fire out this way. Okay? And then up on top, I will start from the back side, Siberian fire, I should say. So here's my log, and I built fire the full length of it, starting in the middle and spreading out. And then from the back of it, I'm going to put big logs up here on top so the heat's coming up, getting these burning. And then I'll scoot them forward. This long, wide Siberian type fire, I like better than the classic long fire. The classic long fire is like 2 fingers like that. You get them burning between. That's great, but what happens if that top one rolls? A friend of mine down here in the southeast recently got burned in February, where he had put the log on fire and it rolled up against him during the night. And got a 2nd degree burn on his hand, I think his leg, his MS sleeping system burned, his pillow was on fire. He got out of it, but he's hurt. He's going to survive, but he was hurt. And it was because of a log rolling, I'm pretty sure. He hadn't said that, but I'm pretty sure from what he said, a log probably rolled up. I've experienced that in my life too. So, I didn't get burned, but I don't like the long fire, like laying those up there, because they can roll over to me. I like the Siberian fire where it's like this over the top. And so my fire is here and they come over here and that heat comes up. Once I get that going, these long pieces I can gather and just stick up on the top, see, without having to cut or chop or split it. So, in conclusion, gathering up firewood, like the old Boy Scout said, without tools. For the small stuff, all I need is my hands. For a medium fire, I can do my hands, or a knife adds a lot. For a large fire, I need an axe or a saw, or I need to do a lot of grunt work, dragging them up and getting them propped up to let them burn in length without having to buck them up and process. That's the idea. So to my subscribers that asked that question, I hope this answers your question. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit that like button for me before you go. I'd really appreciate it. There'll be more videos coming very soon. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.